The next guest on Smarter San Diego TV is our Encinitas community correspondent. Please welcome back to the show, Michael Jacobo, and his special guest, attorney Tim McNulty.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Welcome back to the show. You can hear all the people clapping, can't you?
Yeah.
Not just me.
Thank you.
So Encinitas, this is really interesting. Tim, I'm glad you're here. Apparently, the city of Encinitas is breaking the law somehow. Is that right?
Well, that hasn't been determined in any court of law.
Of course.
What is going on here is the state of California is over-regulating, trying to establish in certain communities how they build housing, whether it's going certain areas have to be low income, certain areas do not. So it is a controversial issue because how are we going to comply with all these regulations when you have a community like Encinitas, which is pretty much developed already, and the property values are so high? You know, how are you going to designate areas to be low-income housing, and how is that going to affect the property values that Michael knows about?
Yeah, because they're talking about like 1,300 units, right, that need to be in there in order to comply with this state rule, since Encinitas isn't a part of the city of San Diego.
Correct. So those 1,300 units that they're talking about, and that would need to be considered low to very low income housing. It's actually about 1,286 to be precise, the number. But where about in Encinitas is what they're trying to determine. Because remember, Encinitas is a very large city. You have Old Encinitas, New Encinitas, Leucadia, Cardiff, Olivenhain, and obviously people don't want the low-income or very low-income housings to be part of their area.
Right.
So just trying to figure out where it's going to be.
Is this going to create a tribal war in Encinitas, Michael? Are we going to have the Olivenhanians, against the Cardiffians? I mean, what's going to go on? What's going to happen now? Because they got to go somewhere according to this law if they want to comply with the law. I don't know if are there any ramifications if they don't comply, Tim?
What could happen is if they don't come up with a plan, the state of California, Sacramento, will take over the planning, and they'll determine what happens.
Oh, no.
That's the big risk.
So they have to come up with a plan because you don't want that.
Right, and the way this is really going to work is when you have a new development, and that's the thing in Encinitas, where are there any new developments?
Right.
Everything's constructed, so are you talking about tearing down old housing and rebuilding, or it's not an easy issue.
Yeah. I mean, it can't go in Cardiff, right? That's really not possible.
There's really not a whole lot of land.
There's no place.
Well, they could build on the lagoon, but nobody's going to want that.
Yeah.
Then the environmentalists will be all that.
That'd be very low income if you're going to be on the lagoon. But there's really no place in Leucadia, right? I mean, I can't think of a single. I mean, if you're a builder looking for a lot, you're going to have a hard time over there.
Right.
Much less 1,300 units. 1,300 units is a huge scope. I think for people to get sort of an idea, some of these things you see, these high rises you see in our background here, these have a few hundred units in each. So we're talking about 1,300 units. We're
high
talking
density.
About a lot in order to comply with this. I think what we should do is check in with Facebook because we posted this on Facebook. We just asked a simple question, Rebecca.
Yes, the simple question was, Encinitas residents, do you want more low-income housing in your neighborhood? And very interesting comments here. No one seems too pleased with it. Dwayne Dietz says, Encinitas won't create 1,300 low-cost units. They will allow developers to create up to 1,300 low-cost units. There is a difference.
Is that true, Michael? You think that's what the deal would be, that they would put it on developer, come up with a plan and then say, okay, developer A, here's the plan, go execute it?
Well, I mean, perhaps. However, the city is not in compliance right now. There needs to be 1,286 units need to be considered specifically for low and very low income housing. That needs to go on to the ballot for November 2016 for the city of Encinitas. So somehow, some way, it's going to need to be part of this ballot in 2016.
Okay.
Where they'll be, that's yet to be determined, and I think that's what the whole discussion is about right now.
Because they've got basically a year to figure it out from now.
Exactly.
And there's going to be meetings, isn't there a way for residents in the different areas of Encinitas to sort of take part in this discussion?
Absolutely. Starting November 5th, Thursday, There will be November 5th, 7th, and I think throughout November, and you can get more information as far as where these meetings will be held at homeinencinitas.info.
Okay.
So at homeinencinitas.info
Okay.
is where you could go. And the residents of Encinitas, again, they're going to have 5 different open house forums. And what those forums are going to be is talking about ways, places, how it's going to look, how they'll be constructed, and things like that. So
People can weigh in. They can make their opinions heard.
absolutely, absolutely. So I highly recommend people that are, Encinitas residents to go, voice their opinions. They tried to do this earlier this year in February. A total of 500 people went. And we're talking in all 5 communities of Encinitas, only 500 people went. So they're looking for more, obviously. Right now, the city of Encinitas have come up with approximately 22 different proposals on how they could get this to fit into their new proposal.
Right, their new situation.
Exactly.
So I recommend everyone, listen, you don't have anything to complain about if you don't participate. So definitely participate. Go to the website on the screen. Sign up for the talk that's in your area and go have your voice heard. In the meantime, you can have your voice heard on our Facebook page, which is what pretty much everybody's been doing. Rebecca, more comments from Facebook.
More comments from Facebook. Raoul B. Berg says NIMBY, which apparently means not in my backyard.
Yeah, it's part of the tribal war that's going to be happening.
Yeah.
The next one was a little bit interesting.
This next one made me laugh. God forgive me. Jared Hoover says, "This is why God created Escondido."
Oh, can you believe it?
Ouch.
The trolling on Facebook. Actually, it's funny to a degree.
Yeah.
It was one of the most liked comments, actually,
Yeah.
which was interesting. But this will have an impact on the real estate market, right, Mike?
Well, that's what people are fearing. People are fearing that obviously by having low-income housing in their backyard, it will bring the value, it will devalue their particular property. Now, we've seen this in other communities, which it has not necessarily have happened. There's places in Carlsbad, many communities in Carlsbad that have low-income housing that are next to million, some of them even multi-million-dollar properties. You see that also in San Marcos. So Encinitas is just one of the few that does not have it currently, and that's why they're not to compliance.
Okay. So you don't think it'll be a big deal then? You say people, it's nothing to really worry about.
I don't believe it'll be that big of a deal, no.
Okay. Well, you're our real estate expert in Encinitas, so we believe you.
Well, I appreciate it.
I think you can trust him. Well, I think it's a legitimate concern for people to have, but I also believe you have to look at the past, because we've seen, this isn't the first time this has happened. The big question is where, and so if you want to participate in that, you know where to go. Go to the website on the screen right now, sign up, or just look for the time that they're going to be talking in your area. Participate, get involved in the community. Mr. Jacobo, thank you so much for being in today. Really appreciate your time.
My pleasure, sir.
Fantastic stuff. Tim, thanks for your
Thank you.
time
Thank
today as well. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else.